Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Become a channel member where you'll get access to all archive videos. Support Black male media. Support independent media. Super chats enabled. Super thanks for the Replay Gang, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Dr. Thunder Music, all one word. Spell out the word doctor. And if you'd like to feed me sandwiches, if you'd like to buy me a sandwich, then please hit the Cash App. That is preferred. And go ahead and drop a comment in the chat and we'll shout you out. Please come in liking, sharing, and supporting the stream. Yes, it's been a minute since we've done a case closed, but we're back at it. Everybody's doing everything, traveling, and getting promoted to full professor and things. That may be part of this. And a number of other things going on. I was playing a musical last week. I guess the week before last. It was the Tina Turner musical. And I do plan to do a couple streams this coming week to talk a little bit about the heavy propaganda in that story. No indictment against the musical, terrific musical. Great production, but there is some creative storytelling. But we're back at it. Ike has been traveling. We also plan to get back on our Getting Ish Done with Ike and Dr. Thunder on Wednesdays. We do plan to get back on that, but we're here now, and has been a topic. Several topics and that we'll be discussing today. BBL Drizzy and the beef economy, or the economics of beef. Why do these hip-hop beefs continue to happen, and what is the actual benefit from a financial perspective of these beefs? And I think that's something that we could extend into sort of beefing even in the men's space and whatnot. So I think that'll be an interesting way to sort of take something that is a current event and apply it. And we've got some early presidential elections discussion that we'll be discussing. There's an upcoming, a couple, debates that will be had pretty shortly, and so that's everybody will be interested, I'm sure, in that. I wonder. It seems like one is. I don't know if he's fit to debate. And honestly, at this point, it's not even just like for jokes. Like I wonder if this dude knows what day of the week it is. But hey, that's that. And then of course the release of Chat GPT4. Which is, I've actually been using Chat GPT-4. There's some improvements. There's some things that it does quite a bit better than 3, and what it is that's entailing. And along these lines, there's been a number of songs that have been released lately that have been completely and totally AI generated. And now the scary thing about this is that they are generated in the style of a particular period of music, and they are totally believable for that period. And that includes video and other things to go along with them. But they're completely phony. I mean, like I was listening to one earlier today that supposedly was released in 1971. So this is kind of a strange thing that's happening. If you really do want to write certain folks out of history, this would be a quite effective means by which to do that. Say, for instance, if you wanted to make it seem as though Charlie Parker was just copying some other person, you could you could put a date, a style of music that seems somewhat familiar for that period and somewhat is accurate, but that seems to be proto Yardbird. But it's a white guy. Or it's a white woman. So there's all kinds of things that could be happening. So this AI thing is, as it's developing, is creating new and different kinds of ways that they can sort of tamper with things. Do black people in general, and hip hop culture in particular, disproportionately enjoy beefs and drama? If so, what are some possible explanations? So between Kendrick and Drake, who benefits more and who has more to lose? While both artists have significant economic influence, Drake's net worth and revenue streams are more substantial due to his commercial success and entrepreneurial ventures. Kendrick Lamar's economic impact is more focused on the music industry and social empowerment. The beef economy supports the music industry, creates jobs in entertainment and marketing, and contributes to the growth of the global economy with a focus on empowering marginalized communities. Are there any social downsides to the beef economy? Did Biden make the right decision to debate Trump? What are your predictions regarding the outcomes and who benefits more from the debates? Trump. OpenAI release. I mean, look, that's the obvious answer. OpenAI releases Chat GPT 4.0 with increased usability. Have you started adopting the use of them of these models? Do you think there will be traction? Do you think there will be traction? And as a way to sort of get us moving, I actually, I've got an article written by Tariq Nasheed where he covers the sort of history of hip hop beefs. So I think we will, when we come back, we may kind of start with that and then get the show started. So anyhow, BBL Drizzy in the beef economy, early presidential elections, and Chat GPT-4 today on Case Closed. Let's go. Warning: some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. All right, like, share, comment, subscribe, become a channel member where you'll get access to all archive videos. Support Black Male Media, support independent media. Super chats enabled. Super thanks for the replay gang. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Dr. Thunder Music, all one word. Spell out the word doctor. And yes, we are talking BBL Drizzy and the beef economy, early presidential elections, and Chat GPT 4.0. So, without further ado, case closed. What's happening, folks?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yeah, it's been a minute. We finally made it. We finally made it.
Yeah, it was a little, I guess you could call it a spring break of sorts, but
Yeah.
kind of disoriented there a little bit. Now Voltron is back, I guess.
That's right. That's right.
LAR with that's a nice hat, LAR. That's a nice hat. You're in a different room. It's a little bit more cozy in there. Look cozy looking.
Yeah, I'm in prison. That's what he told me.
And by the way, we haven't heard from Kaiser since he was having his audio issues prior. Kaiser, you there?
Yeah, you can hear me right now. Yeah, of course.
Sure.
All right, great.
So, yeah, we can get right into it. I don't know if Dr. Thunder, you wanted to. Well, you mentioned something about playing something, but
well, what I think I'll do, rather than playing it, I could actually, let's see here. Well, I guess I could play it. Let me do something real quick. Let me.
Okay, while you, if you have to figure anything out, or, oh, it's already there. Well, yeah, you see the beef. This particular beef, though, has kind of been, the feud is started over a decade ago, right? Where people speculated that Lamar is taking shots at artists that use ghostwriters, right? That's part of the old thing, and we'll talk about that too. Because it's something that seems to be specific to hip hop. Like, it's fine if Taylor Swift has ghostwriters or whatever, but she doesn't because it's all about her breakups or whatever. But there's something specific about hip hop where if you're not writing those bars yourself, then you're not a real one. But anyways, Dr. Thunder, were you gonna go ahead and play it?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. And this is an article penned by Tariq Nasheed, released on Brooklyn Magazine, Arts and Leisure, the Arts and Leisure section, and this was released May 13th. So this is just a few short days ago. And let's go ahead and have Samantha do us the honors.
A brief history of the rap beef. From Kool Moe Dee to Kendrick Lamar, from historic battles to modern feuds. Diss tracks have a long legacy and deep ties to the borough by Tariq Nasheed in the ever-evolving landscape of hip-hop. Few things capture the imagination of fans quite like a rap beef. The tension, the drama, the lyrical sparring. It's all part of the culture that has defined the genre since its inception. And in recent years, no feud has captured the attention of the hip-hop world like the one between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. The beef between Drake and Kendrick sparked intense lyrical exchanges, revealing the depth of competition within the hip-hop world, and crashed the lyric annotation site Genius in the process. In Drake's diss track Family Matters, he launched a scathing attack on Kendrick's grassroots activism, accusing him of merely pretending to be an activist. Always rapping like you bout to get the slaves freed. You just acting like an activist. It's make-believe.
All right. And continuing on here. I mean, if anybody wants to make any comment about that thus far.
No, it's quite interesting on the point of the competitiveness. Obviously there's something specifically competitive about hip hop music. The idea of the best rapper, right? And I know this part of it that comes from the whole battle aspect, right? And the battle aspect is a key aspect of kind of like hip hop. but thinking of who the best rapper is, and then when there's actual beef, and we know that beef sells, generally speaking, anyways. But anyways, interesting so far.
All right.
Kendrick, undeterred, fired back with tracks like Not Like Us, where he addressed Drake's critique head-on, with poignant lines like Once Upon a Time, all of us was in chains. Homie still doubled down calling us some slaves. Kendrick challenged Drake, digging into themes of historical oppression and cultural identity. The clash between these two titans of rap showcased not only their lyrical prowess but also the complexities of social commentary within the genre. But the roots of this feud run much deeper than the surface-level differences between the two artists. They tap into a long tradition of rap beefs that stretches back to the very beginnings of the genre. Consider the legendary clash between Busy B and Kool Moe Dee in 1981, a historic showdown that unfolded at the Harlem World Club. Widely regarded as the first major rap beef in hip-hop, this battle reverberated through the burgeoning culture. Busy B, a figure immortalized in the seminal hip-hop film Wild Style, and also featured in my new documentary Microphone Check, was celebrated for his infectious party rhymes. He faced off against Kool Moe Dee, a maestro of lyricism whose razor-sharp wit and intricate wordplay set him apart.
All right, so we're getting some history here. Let's keep going.
Armed with a barrage of razor-sharp rhymes, Kool Moe Dee delivered blows that struck like daggers, pioneering the use of highly personalized attacks. This landmark battle, remembered as one of the first where such tactics were employed, showcased the power of lyrical warfare in hip-hop. Among Kool Moe Dee's cutting lines was the now legendary quote, "Hold on, Busy B, I don't mean to be bold, but put that ba-diddy-ba bullshit on hold," encapsulating the intensity and directness that defined the encounter. Brooklyn's own Big Daddy Kane found himself embroiled in an early hip-hop conflict, navigating the tense rivalry between Queens MC Shan and the Juice Crew, while facing formidable foes like KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions from the Bronx. The feud reached a fever pitch as MC Shan and KRS-One exchanged blistering lyrical jabs on iconic tracks such as Boogie Down Productions' The Bridge Is Over and South Bronx, and MC Shan's Kill That Noise, in the iconic 1986 rap anthem South Bronx by Boogie Down Productions. KRS-One unleashes a scathing attack on MC Shan, rapping, "Party people in the place to be." KRS-One attacks, "Ya got dropped off MCA cause the rhymes you wrote was whack." The Juice Crew sought to recruit Big Daddy Kane into the fray, hoping his lyrical prowess would turn the tide in their favor and shield MC Shan and other Juice Crew members from verbal onslaughts. However, due to his unofficial status within the Juice Crew, Kane opted to abstain from direct involvement in what became known as the Bridge Wars. Nevertheless, Kane's later versus battle with KRS-One underscored Brooklyn's enduring influence on the genre, serving as a testament to its rich contribution to hip-hop culture. Brooklyn's impact on hip-hop extends far beyond its borough borders, as evidenced by some of the genre's most iconic conflicts. The legendary feud between Jay-Z and Nas captivated global audiences, while the tragic rivalry between Biggie and Tupac left an indelible mark on hip-hop history, shaping the culture and narrative of the genre. One of the earliest rap battles on wax originated in Brooklyn in 1984, with UTFO's Roxanne igniting a series of response records. Notably, Queens rapper Roxanne Shant's diss track Roxanne's Revenge fueled the flames of the Roxanne Wars, underscoring Brooklyn's pivotal role as a battleground for hip-hop supremacy and highlighting the culture of competitive lyricism. Amidst hip-hop's conflicts in the late 80s, Brooklyn rapper MC Lyte emerged as a formidable force, her sharp lyrics and fearless demeanor earning her respect within the community. Through a series of diss records against fellow rapper Antoinette in 1988, MC Lyte solidified her status as one of hip-hop's most revered mooks, embodying Brooklyn's indomitable spirit and commitment to artistic excellence. Lyte's iconic opening bar on the song 10% diss, "Hot Damn Ho, Here We Go Again," was later reused by fellow Brooklyn rapper Lil Kim on Mobb Deep's Quiet Storm track in 1995. The rap beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar symbolizes a long-standing tradition within hip-hop, a clash between commercial success and grassroots authenticity. Drake, with his mainstream appeal and polished sound, embodies the commercial side of the genre, while Kendrick Lamar's raw lyricism and street credibility represent the grassroots authenticity deeply rooted in hip-hop's origins. Their feud epitomizes the tension between artists who prioritize commercial success and MCs who prioritize lyrical skill and street credibility. This dichotomy reflects broader debates within hip-hop about the balance between commercial viability and artistic integrity. While both Drake and Kendrick Lamar wield immense influence and respect in the hip-hop genre, their rivalry has underscored the enduring fascination with competitive lyricism and the perpetual quest to navigate the intricate landscape of success in hip-hop. Still, it's widely held among the public that Kendrick Lamar emerges as the victor in this rivalry, his lyricism and artistic depth earning him acclaim and solidifying his position as a dominant force in the genre.
All right, there's the article.
That last part there about chiming in on who won, I don't know about that.
Right.
But I mean, I'm a Kendrick type of person, anyways, but not necessarily Kendrick. I'm talking more like Nas specifically. But I'm over in that area of lyricism and whatnot. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the beef economy, the roots of this beef type of thing, some of which we understand, some of which perhaps we can further elucidate by asking LAR here, right? So one of the things I noticed in this article here was the New York aspect. I was like, oh yeah, duh. It's kind of like a New York thing. So LR, maybe you want to comment on that. So basically what we're talking about is this kind of a beefing and drama culture. And is it the same in all kinds of hip hop or all kinds of, regions, I mean, and all aspects, and how does it represent other aspects of Black culture? Is this just like a New York thing? Is this a Black thing? What are your thoughts, LR?
There's a difference between beefing and battling.
Okay.
So,
but the best part of the beef though is the great lyrics, right? For a true fan. But anyways, go ahead.
No, like a beef is you got an issue with somebody. A battle, you might not even know the person.
Right. That's a good point.
So, a lot of this stuff, is some of these beefs comes from a real place. Battle just is at the moment, but people don't want to go to the root of some of this stuff is jealousy. Now sometimes people become successful, then other people get jealous or people get upset, and then they have a beef. Like some of these beefs are manufactured, and it's manufactured for attention. So to me, No Vaseline was a beef record. It's a diss record. A diss record is you got beef. You know what I'm saying? Hit 'em up. That's a diss record. It's not too many diss records that I remember Pusha T made a diss record, but a lot of times you understood where No Vaseline came from. You understood where Hit 'em Up came from. Some of these other things we call in beefs, you don't even know where they came from. It's like it's not a it's he's more successful than me and I'm mad.
Let's clarify. So you're saying these things, some of these things come from jealousy. In this particular case, are you accusing any one of them in jealousy? You just mentioned success. We know the one that's more successful. You saying Kendrick is jealous?
I'm saying Kendrick was jealous in this one.
Okay,
definitely, because I didn't even listen to all. First and foremost, I'm gonna just say this as a hip hop fan. I didn't listen to pretty much most of that stuff because it wasn't aggressive enough for me. It was angry poetry. It was not direct. It's direct-ish.
Yeah.
I don't want to. If you hate somebody, I think you're trying to be an activist. I don't care about all that. Now you're a pedophile. Okay, now you're a pedophile. Now he set you up. Whatever. Where did this come from? Where did this come from? Ask the question. Where did this come from? You knew why Ether came from. It was a personal situation. You knew where No Vaseline came from. You knew where Hit 'em Up came from. Where does this come from? Let's just be honest. I don't like them. Fine. Whatever. Is it a beef? I doubt it. I mean, personally, I look at it this way, just as a fan. How many people have dissed Drake in the last 10 years? And they've pretty much all dissed him because he was successful. let me do this a different way. You see, they ain't diss Lil Wayne. It's a reason. In the same crew, everybody got an issue with Drake because they feel like Drake the soft one. Go ahead and diss Wayne and see how that end up for you. It's not a real beef. It's just I don't like you. You sold a lot of records. You rich. You out here he look awkward and crazy and weird sometimes for sure. But I look at it like, hey man, you know, it wasn't even a beef he started. It wasn't it was J. Cole and then Kendrick and now we getting Drake. I'm like, oh, whatever, man. And then J. Cole backed out. It's just to me, this is the softest battle in hip hop history. I would have rather Missy Elliott and Lauryn Hill go at it.
One second.
Hey, real quick, everybody. Real quick, let me acknowledge the super chats. Let's see here. Thank you very much, Salty Balls, saying Dr. Thunder. Speaking of beef, I dissed that Spanosphere report author from a research analysis last night. Cool. I'll have to check that out, man. And then another support from Salty Balls. Of course, this is evidence that the super chat function is fully operational. So please like, share, and support the show. Saying, let's see here. I question all his research methods, hoping none of his publications grow. Yeah. Now, of course, you can't control that part of it. But yeah. Okay. Let's keep going.
Mr. Kaiser, you were gonna chime in or something?
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. Shout out to.
Do a quick chime in, and then I'll ask you something about this.
Yeah. Shout out to my brother LAP. Shout out to him, right? Yeah, right. Shout out to you, right? Look, I think I agree with most of your analysis, right? And I do think that J. Cole stepping out of this whole battle was actually smart for him because Drake got cooked, right? Drake got cooked by this 5'4" midget called Kendrick. How are you gonna get cooked by a midget, right? That can't even afford to get an elongation surgery, right? So that's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie, right? So Drake. Yeah. Drake got cooked by a midget. That's crazy. I'm not gonna lie, right? So I will say this, bro. I do believe that Kendrick is bad faith, right? Look, Kendrick is okay. He thinks he's some kind of poetic genius, right? But to be realistic, J. Cole is probably better because J. Cole is a middle ground of Drake and Kendrick. He can actually get to more people. His lyrics makes more sense. They're more sort of real. And I prefer Kendrick just because I prefer some of his works. But when I listen to J. Cole's music, I'm like, yeah, right. So yeah, for me, J. Cole wins, right? And I think J. Cole removing himself was definitely strategic, and he knows he's better than all these other rappers, right? He just didn't want to go through and prove it.
It's interesting here, if you bring up this aspect of okay, who do we like, right? I kind of said that I was in a particular camp, but I immediately said kind of disavowed, like it's not necessarily Kendrick. It's not about Kendrick, right? It's about someone like Nas, for example. Now between these three, J. Cole, Drake, Kendrick, I actually think J. Cole is better at the whole lyrics thing than Kendrick. I to be honest, I'm just saying that I don't get the whole Kendrick appeal. It is a function of the competitive landscape, obviously, right? It's not like there was a particular time, I don't know, it was maybe like 95 to 2001 where it was super competitive. Like, you had Nas rapping with DMX and Busta Rhymes and this and that. It was insane, right? Like, so now it's not really like that, right? But real quick, what do you think about, because basically Kendrick is jealous according to LAR, and he's coming up with this kind of, well, I got more street cred, I got more lyrics, okay, whatever. And you don't, you ghost, right?
Yeah. So
what do you think about that line of attack? And you comment on it and we'll move on.
Yeah, so let me comment there, right? Obviously, Drake is not that. Drake has a superior Ashkenazi genes in him, right, through his mother, but it's not really working out, right? Obviously, Kendrick has an IQ, right? So
He
Kendrick
got
is
cooked
a
by a
better
pygmy.
poet, right? Exactly. He's got a pygmy
Pygmies are
DNA,
the
right?
ones
But
supposed to be getting cooked and eaten by the Bantus and
yeah,
Pork. But anyway,
exactly. Oh shit, yeah. We won't go there, right? But um, Kendrick is the better poet. That's a fact, right? However, what I will say this, right? Drake is far more what's that, dynamic than Kendrick is, right? And Drake is right? Kendrick is dropping an album every 2 or 3 years. What the hell is wrong with that? Sorry, what the hell is up with that? Doesn't make sense. If you are a superstar, drop an album at least once every year. Kendrick is dropping an album every 2 or 3 years. It doesn't make any sense. So Drake is dropping album every year, multiple years, right? Same. I like him, right? He reminds me of Lil Wayne, and there's something beautiful about that aspect of, or actually, oh, uh, yeah, there's something beautiful about that kind of work ethic that Drake has that Kendrick doesn't, and I respect that. And when it comes to J. Cole is in the middle, as I said, right? J. Cole is a good lyricist. He is a good diss tracker. J. Cole has good, again, genetics for rap. He's a half white man, fair enough, right? So is Drake. But J. Cole seems to respect the whole culture. He respects culture more than Drake, right? He acknowledges that he is, middle class and came from a mixed background more so than Drake. Drake is a culture vulture, so there is that aspect. So I like J. Cole the most. Kendrick, I like him second. Again, I prefer Kendrick's music, especially Good Kid, Mad City. That shit was fire, right? That's poetic as hell. Forget Pimp a Butterfly. That's all that pretentious stuff. But a Good Kid, Mad City was great. Um, but J. Cole wins it for me, and I do respect the fact that J. Cole just said, "Nah, I'm not doing this. Yeah, I'm not. I don't want to be part of this big three fight. Right? I'm gonna be separate." And everybody knows that J. Cole is one of the big threes. You see, it's just again, I don't want to say I'm African. I believe in culture and pretending and humbleness, but I do think that J. Cole made the right decision.
go ahead with the super chat.
I'm about to be
All right,
trying.
yeah. Let me get the super chat real quick. So this is once again Salty Balls with $10 support, single-handedly bankrolling the stream, and providing yet again more evidence that the super chat function is fully operational. So that means other Dusty Ninjas can get in. Let's see here. Dr. Thunder, it may be, let's see here, it may be possible it's enough errors in there for a retraction for his dissertation. And if so, no dissertation, maybe no velvet tam, or at the very least, have retraction watch on him. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Look, I'm all for folks trying to trump up bogus stuff, getting called out for it. So that would be a nice discouragement for others to follow suit.
Can I say something that's going to just forget? I'm just going to be honest about this, and I shouldn't have been long-winded the first time. J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and Drake are just the best three rappers in the trash era. That's what it is. So even their beef is trash compared to other beefs. Their disses are trash compared to other diss records. It's not no. I hate to be honest with y'all, but that's the problem. What they did in 17 songs that they dissed each other, they've been rappers who did that in a verse. So it's weak. It's weak. I hate to break the news to y'all. Hit 'em Up was really one Tupac verse. It was other people after that. Nobody. Yeah. It was one verse. That's what it was. So when you it's a diss record. You know what a diss record means? Disrespect. I'm gonna disrespect you disrespectfully. This is like a hotep battle. It's not aggressive. Okay. It's the chess club fighting. And I don't no. I quit. I'm done.
Yeah, very nice, very nicely put there, LAR. So, Dr. Thunder, you may comment on anything has been said so far, but let me just state again that the question of hip hop culture, this, and street beefs, is it a New York thing? Is it not? I read somebody in the chat talking about James Brown calling out some other people back then. But also you can kind of talk about the economics of it between Kendrick and Drake, who benefits more. Somebody mentioned in the chat that Drake only puts out pop singles. I'm like, well, that's not an easy thing to do, right?
Right.
No, he just makes hits.
Hang on a second. Right, Drake has more followers, right, and obviously he makes more singles money. However, Kendrick has way more Grammys and even the Pulitzer Prize. So art, right? Kendrick sees himself an artist. The other guy, right, the mixed race Ashkenazi, right, he sees himself as a pop artist.
Before we move on to Dr. Thunder real quick, just a quick yes or no, a quick answer here. Pulitzer Prize, okay, I know the Pulitzer Prize is not like it's not like it's a Nobel laureate or something like in poetry, right? But do you think he deserved the goddamn Pulitzer Prize? I don't think he did. I mean, given what LAR said and what I alluded to before LAR said it, this is not. What did he do? Pulitzer Prize?
One second, I disagree with you right now. I'll explain why. Right, he deserved it because he was the most popular artist that was popular enough, and people thought he was poetic enough to get it.
You young people. Anyways, Dr. Thunder, you go
right.
ahead.
You
know what I mean, right?
I'm about to be a jerk. Listen, white people like him because he's the Michael Eric Dyson of rap.
Jerk chicken.
Eric Dyson. He just spews out words that and the disconjunctive era of the supremacist tendencies.
Yeah. So here's my thing. Okay. This is an interesting sort of discussion because so historically you have certain folks taking shots at other folks, usually from a jealousy perspective, because they're more successful when you consider money as the reward in popularity, whereas the other person is deemed to be more of a purist, more of a pure artist. Okay. Now, the challenge that I have with this is it plays into certain categories that are not our categories in the first place. Okay. So understand that record companies specifically have sectioned folks off into certain categories because it makes it easier for them to maximize the return on their marketing dollars. Black musicians historically have not really cared about these categories. Black musicians, those that are skilled, have basically just gone where the work is. And so part of the reason why, and certain folks try to use this as a sort of diss against black folks, but part of the reason why black folks create jazz and they create other styles of music, other quote unquote genres, although they didn't really regard it as genres, because again, that's a record company word. Once they've done that, they say, okay, I'm bored with this. I'm going to something else now, because that's where the opportunities are. Now, what's happened historically is white folks and other groups who have a particular affinity for certain styles of music that black people created, they become more fans of that music and they copy it. And since the dominant society is white folks, you're going to have more white folks comfortable with consuming that music. All right. And that's been basically a nutshell history of how the record company has sort of exploited certain communities, and how black folks who never really regarded themselves as being specific to a particular genre. You just basically were participating in a tradition, right? And so that's really what's going on here. So I tend to resist when people say stuff like, well, such and such is just a pop artist, as if that's an easy thing to do, or such and such is just a this kind of thing. They're not as pure, as much of a purist, or they're not as serious, right, about what it is that they're doing. I disagree with that. Maybe they have a different taste, maybe they have a different approach, and maybe their end goal was a different end goal. So I'm not sure what the point of using categories and metrics that are not our categories or metrics as a way to dismiss what it takes to become a household name, regardless as to what the art is. Something that's happening in the academy right now is I've seen a sort of moving from quote unquote jazz as being the new thing, right, which was associated with black folks, being sort of an aspect of it being replaced by what I call academic jazz. And academic jazz is the sort of multicultural friendly version where you focus on aspects of the music that are less challenging to replicate for pretty much anyone. So you focus more on stuff that's notated. You focus more on stuff that's large ensemble, and where you can disguise many of these sort of nuances and aspects of black music and the black aesthetic, and where everybody can get in. So now that has become more centralized in the conservatory model, where it has never been fully accepted, but because it's been sort of repackaged, it's been more centralized. And then the folks that have been involved in instructing that have started to adopt many of the same bogus arguments and things against commercial music as were expressed against jazz by the traditional musicians. Traditional being the European classical music. So there's always a danger of stuff getting moved into, okay, well, now you're sort of accepted. But the thing is that the accepted version of jazz, of course, is very much, and people are not going to like this, very much a whitewashed version of the genuine article, which is less about the culture that the music emerged from, the artistic expression, which was necessarily an outgrowth of the circumstances surrounding the lives of the artists, what they were allowed to do, what they were not allowed to do, what they had at their disposal, what they did not have at their disposal. There's all of this stuff, but all of that stuff has been pushed to the side for the sake of creating a version of this that everybody can get on board with. Right? But then it's, like I said, it's breathtaking that those that have been involved in that process and that believe that they're now sitting on top of something that is now deemed successful, although it's been robbed of its, authenticity in many ways. Now they are participating in pressing against anything that is commercial in nature. So now the real war now is between commercial music and art music, and jazz, which was never art music, was always social music, and a version of it has been pushed into this art music category where it's being consumed the same way as art music is, and being taught the same way in the same institutions. So it's a long way to say this, but that's why I resist the whole pop versus, purist version of whatever. That's why I resist that, because I see all of that as a smokescreen, as a way to dismiss the most important aspects of this. And let me read the super chat real quick, and then I'll give the floor. Salty Balls with the $10 support saying Moanin' by Art Blakey is a little too unapologetically black to be academic. It's almost like chitlins and collard greens to them, in almost convenience that the piece is proto-funk. Yep.
Yeah, nice point there on the dichotomy you created on the art music versus kind of like commercial music first, and why you push back against that aspect. Just one little thing here again about kind of like judgment, again, just the whole thing of Kaizo, booty clapping for Kendrick. What do you can comment on the specific Pulitzer Prize to this specific person, but I think that there is a general concern that I have anyways about rewarding people, like petting, kind of like giving them a little pat on the head as, kind of like a representation of that soft bigotry of low expectations, or, oh, it's a nice little black kid, Mike and Eric Dyson, party trick. Let's bring him in and he'll say many words at us and we'll clink our glasses or whatever. So Kendrick Lamar with regards to the Pulitzer, and then this underlying issue I just brought up. Mr. Thunder.
Yeah, and real quick, Salty Balls is
Mr. Thunder.
One second. Salty Balls is attempting to correct something that autocorrect jacked up his super chat. It should say, and I'm just going to read the whole thing again. Moanin' by Art Blakey is a little too unapologetically black to be academic. It's almost like chitlins and collard greens to them. I'm almost convinced that the piece is proto-funk. There you go, man. Thanks for the support.
So yeah, Dr. Thunder.
Yes.
Okay, should I repeat the question?
Yeah, please repeat. I'm sorry. I was trying to sort his commentary out.
Yeah, so it's about the Pulitzer Prize that Mr. Kendrick Lamar got, right? And I was like, I don't necessarily think he deserves it. Kaiser was like, oh yeah, because he's the best around. LAR and I before has already kind of mentioned that, the times are not particularly it's not a shining era right now. However, you may comment on specifically Kendrick Lamar deserving a Pulitzer Prize, but there's an underlying issue here about people being rewarded undeservedly, and as a way of kind of patting them in the head, soft bigotry of low expectations type move on the part of quote unquote dominant society for a black person that doesn't deserve it, thereby undermining all black people, in my opinion. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't. Was it the Pulitzer Prize that Obama won, even before he had like done anything?
He won Drone Strike Obama, the dronest, strikest MFer that ever
Nobel Peace Prize.
Got a Nobel Peace Prize.
Right. There it is. And I hate that stuff, because it is a smack in the face to those that actually have been doing the work. And it's obvious that they just want to be able to do this as a empty gesture of empty symbolism, as opposed to something that's substantive that actually would push something that would actually perhaps fix or help any of the issues, frankly, even that Kendrick Lamar was even talking about. So it's interesting. Giving him the award undermines many of the issues that he that he was discussing, because no movement will be made to address any of those issues. let's just give this ninja award, and then we don't have to address it. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? And I asked this question before. How, just for the listeners who are, I don't care, Drake fans, Kendrick fans, J. Cole fans, just hip hop fans of this era, how many classic albums have you had in the last 10 years?
Mic drop. So let's.
Wait, what's the question?
None. That's a none percent.
How many classic hip hop albums have you had in the last 10 years?
Yeah, I don't know, man, but I'll say this, right?
That's pretty bad with Kaizo, because Kaizo is crying, because he's out there trying to troll. He's Googling and ChatGPT trying to find it. He's racking his brain trying to pull a thread, and he can't.
Andre said, "By who?" That's not a fair question. It is a great question. You give me the artist with a classic album. A classic album is a classic album. It don't matter who. Give me some classic albums in the last 10 years.
So
from beef, I don't know if there's any.
Oh,
not even necessarily from beef, just period.
My point is, they've got songs that could be considered classic here and there, but no classic albums.
Okay, good.
Which means
Good Kid, Mad City. That shit was fire. That was one of the.
It was fire. How long ago was that?
I don't know, man. It was 2012 or something like that. That's okay.
So that ain't even, that's 12 years.
Yeah.
So I'll do it better since you're gonna add that one. How many in the last 15 years? That's how bad it is.
Okay. So
yeah. Okay, I see your point. Yeah.
Continue the debate in the chat. Let's move on to another debate. And it's the presidential debate. It is 2024, right? And the super chat is open, by the way. You can't just have Salty Balls doing all the super chatting with the rest of these dusty ninjas just kind of on looking and
wait, hang on 1 second. I got Salty Balls because apparently I don't have water in my apartment. So yeah.
Wait, time out. I got to do this one. Slick Rick said, I'm too old to be keeping up with rap music with the name Slick Rick.
That's funny. Like that's kind of funny.
Wasn't Slick Rick from the UK? Caribbean from the UK?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
So again, super chat, your comments, your questions, your beefs, your answers to LAR's question. You see, there's going to be a debate. It's going to be a presidential debate. It's going to come relatively quick in the election cycle, right? Relatively about 40 days from now, it seems, right? The first debate is going to be on June 27th, okay? 9 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be in CNN's local Atlanta studios, right? Moderated by Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. And there's going to be another one as well. So you see, the Biden administration, by the way, and maybe we could start from here. Biden administration had some requests regarding this debate. They said they don't want a live audience. And there was another one about the microphones being shut off when it's time, when the person's time is off. But why do you think, Kaizo, let's speculate. Start with you here. Speculate as to why the Biden team, we may see, you look at Biden, what handicaps does he have, or blah, blah, blah. And why does this advantage him? Why did he ask for no live audience in the debate?
You're asking why Sleepy Joe doesn't want the live audience. I think that answers the question, right?
But you can even well, help me connect that dot between being Sleepy Joe and not wanting a live audience. Just connect it.
Yeah. Okay. Look. Okay. Great question, right? So, Obama. One of the reasons Obama won was because of his you guys call it charisma, right? So charisma. It wasn't just simply because he was a black guy and all that stuff. It's charisma. He was able to articulate himself in a certain way. He was young. He was able to get from multiple age groups because of his ideas as well as age, right? Sleepy Joe, unfortunately, from what we see from the outside, is a guy that can't articulate himself on command, or rather on demand, in these debates. So that makes perfect sense. He's not functionally conscious enough to actually make an impact that other people appreciate in the moment, right? So it's a real time sort of specificity, right? He lacks SE, he lacks real time engagement, and I think, yeah, that makes sense to me.
So LAR, you want to comment on this here? It does make sense, it'll, and also we know who his opponent is. His opponent is 100% charisma as far as that's what Trump does. Trump's a stand-up comedian with his little hand gestures, It's going to be
little
very
hand,
big.
little hand gestures.
So, Trump will definitely probably Trump is trying to get the crowd to react. When you get the crowd to react and you feed off the energy of the crowd and the great moments there, the other guy starts looking bad. But anyways, LAR, why do you think Biden asked for no live audience?
Well, you know what? I think Biden feels like I'm an intellectual, and if I have no audience, there is nobody to feed off of, so you can just see me crush him without, person to person, no interruptions. Personally, they both stupid, but Trump is the kind of stupid that America likes right now. So this is something that Biden is going to have to either go back to being old Jim Crow Joe to beat this one, or how can I say this? If he messes up a little bit, it's over, because more people just want Trump to win. The only thing that at this particular point can happen in his favor is like Trump catch a heart attack on the stage. That's pretty much the bulk of it, because they're not going to talk about nothing of any value for the country. They're just going to go at it like some teenagers, some 80-year-old teenagers. This is like, you remember when Bush did a debate and people go, damn, he not as stupid as I thought. This is this again, but you already know both people are stupid.
When you say go back to old Jim Crow Joe, what would that look like? What is that performance like? Like what is he going to do? What's Jim Crow Joe?
Man,
Can you paint that?
He got the I'm getting rid of the immigrants, the migrants. I'm kicking everybody in the teeth. Like, he got to go back to when he was hanging out with Strom Thurmond to get these people on his side right now.
So Dr. Thunder, why do you think Biden asked for the debate to begin with? Right? You can also comment on the audience thing, like, because the idea was, he wasn't going to debate, I think, but now he's asking for an early debate. Some may speculate that, hey, this is because he knows it's not doing well in the polls, that he actually needs this, even though it's dangerous. So they ask for certain kinds of concessions, like no live audience and whatnot. But do you think? What do you think about the decision to actually have the debate on the side of?
Well, having it earlier than later is, I think that he has a perception that he's getting less and less lucid. Okay, so
40 days left.
Yeah, so so there's that, and honestly, it wouldn't be him that made that assessment. It would probably be his team that made that assessment. And the thing is that they can't just not do the debate, because you know what Trump will do. 24/7, this ninja's afraid of me. This ninja's probably afraid that he's not going to be able to put two words together. This dude is he's sunsetting. That's why he didn't want to do the debates. I'm sure they're going to be talking about how the reason he didn't want to have a live audience is because he's easily distracted. So they're going to play up on all of that stuff. But I think the reason that also that they tried to make it seem like Biden was going on the offensive, like saying, "Hey, we're going to do these debates and blah blah blah, and we can do them on a Wednesday," which was a jab, because that's the only time, that the court is in recess. We'll do it on Wednesday. So try to make it seem like he is all there and he's the one that's insisting on having the debates and like this, when really the truth is that he's afraid of the debate. He wants to get them out of the way, done, and over with. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean that I'm some sort of Trump fan, because I'm not a Trump fan. I don't like Trump. I don't like either one of them. But we have to admit that though Trump says a lot of inconvenient stuff, and he says a lot of stuff that you clip it in context and it sounds bad. He says a lot of stuff that's okay, that just at least makes him seem racially insensitive all the time. But he's all there. He's sharp enough. He is sharp enough to appear to at least be in command and still virile and still assertive and like this. And Biden just looks worse and worse every time you see the cat. He just looks worse and worse. Every single debate, he looks worse and worse. So I think having a live audience would only exacerbate that. And I think that this is all just tricks and games. Yeah, man. This is going to be a crap show. This is going to be a straight crap show.
So let me float an idea here, and I want your reaction to this, Kaizo, and then anyone else can also react to it. And it's about the lucidity of President Biden, right? So the idea is, somebody takes a position and says, look, it doesn't matter if the goddamn president is quote unquote lucid or not. After all, whatever, Reagan was kind of in there, blah, blah, blah. So it doesn't matter. And why doesn't it matter? They would say, with regards to electing a president, what the people are concerned with are things such as Supreme Court appointments and maybe one or two other things like that. But the most important being Supreme Court appointments, because after all, the quote unquote deep state and the legislature controlling the purse and controlling the direction of the ship is what really matters. And the president is kind of like a sideshow thing, which gets to put the Supreme Court justices in there. So we don't care if it's a brain dead person, as long as it's a person on the side of the Democrat Party that's going to put in Democratic judges, right? So it doesn't matter, right? But what's your reaction to that, Kaizo? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point, right? So, okay, so let me kind of TI the a Democrat will actually put on Democratic judges, right? So it's not that a Democrat will put that because they care about that, but because the people that supported them, paid for their campaign, cares about that. So they'll be aligned to that simply by virtue of, if you want to move forward, you're gonna kind of maintain status quo, right? So there's that element to this. Now, also there is this element, right? And again, for me, I come from Africa, right? Africa is a shithole. So compare Africa to America, you guys, you guys have a far better functioning system, right? It doesn't matter who's in president of America, because you guys have senators, you have governors, you have all sorts of different delineation of power. That in Africa, unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, right? Africa, the president has the most power. They can literally remove democracy if they want. So an American president is far less powerful than an African one. So the cultures and the norms will sort of play itself out more so than the individual president's preferences.
So, Dr. Thunder, I want you to react to this next, right? Because given the landscape that this person painted, right? The person making the argument that it doesn't matter whether it's a brain dead person, because, as Kaiser mentioned, there is a system and there is this deep state and there is a system of, shall we say, influence, the people whom are paying the money, such and such. And as long as you are aligned with one side or the other, right? and the platform is already there, and you guys know what you guys are after, then it doesn't really matter. I want to say before you react to this, right? There is a position that some people have that, hey, that's a bad thing. The deep state, no real control, no real kind of monarch type powers, such as African presidents may have, is not a good thing. And every once in a while, you need a monarch like president. And it's not like it hasn't happened before in the United States. If you go back, I think the most recent one was FDR. FDR did things, and the way he was able to reconstruct and break up and create, the executive branch, and the kinds of things he was able to do, it will be insane if you think of any other American president. So there's that whole general argument on the side. But generally speaking, what are your thoughts about the state, the system, the influences, and what we care about is the Supreme Court justices vis-a-vis the president? So what does it matter that this guy's brain dead? Yeah, we would like somebody that can speak, but if you get what you get, as long as you're a Democrat, fine. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that largely it's not really that important who the president is. I think it's more important who the people around the president is. And I think the deep state is, of course, the critically important issue. See, because the deep state, and we talk about the deep state as like a pejorative, but the deep state, that just really it's about all of the people that actually have their hands on the levers, their boots on the ground. They actually can see the environment for what it actually is. They know stuff that works, stuff that doesn't work, what tends to be effective, what tends to not be effective. And that's not from a political perspective. That's just from a logistics perspective. Can we actually do this thing that you're asking us to do? Can we actually eliminate this number of positions? Can we actually, promote these people? Can we actually, those things, they have a much clearer idea and understanding of what actually is possible to do. Part of the reason why we regard politicians, presidential politicians in particular, as liars is because they don't actually recognize what it is that they actually can do. They just come in saying whatever necessary to get in office. And then what happens is even the ones that are really well-meaning and perhaps have a bit of character to them, right? The deep state, they have a meeting with those that are the deep state. And then that's when they find out the stuff that they can actually do and the stuff that they can't do. So, all that big talk you was talking about X, Y, and Z, here's the specific reason why you can't do any of that. Okay, now, we could do this and we could do that, but that's going to move a lot slower and actually have way less impact on John Q. taxpayer. So that's what actually happens. So the place, look, the ship, it's a big country and it's very complicated. It's very complicated. There's a lot of stuff that's to consider with any particular decision, right? So they basically tell the president, no, you can't do any of that stuff. Here's all of these other factors. We can't mess with that. We can move in this direction, but it's really only going to have a very small percentage effect on the lifestyle of most people. Now, I actually like that. I like the idea that because of the size of the ship, you can't really make that many changes. I like that because if we were actually to have the significant kinds of changes that these politicians talk about, it would be like whiplash. I mean, people are like, oh snap, what's going on now? What am I supposed to do? Oh, I don't know how to, it would be way too much drama, way too much change, way too fast. And that's also why I'm a fan of gridlock in Congress. People they complain about it like it's a bad thing. They complain about, these Democrats that won't get out the way, and the Republicans, they're constantly being obstructionists. And I'm like, yes, I love it. Because that means that the stuff that I have grown accustomed to with respect to figuring out how I can dominate the game, that stuff is not going to change overnight. So I have to learn all kinds of new rules of how to dominate. I just found out about this loophole. I'm about to take advantage of this loophole, and oh snap, they just took away the loophole. No, I don't want that to happen. I spent all this time so I could get to a place where I have enough resources, enough stability on my job, enough X, Y, and Z. And then I'm starting to discover some of these little loopholes and, X, Y, and Z. I want to be able to do that stuff. So I love gridlock, and I love the fact that the deep state is basically keeping this place going the same way that it goes for long periods of time. I like that. So, I don't think it matters what, if the president is aware or not. But I do think it's rather laughable that the Democrats will try to act as if what is being said about the president is not actually true. I would have more respect for them if they said, you know what, sometimes he is kind of off his meds and X, Y, and Z, but check it out. He's not the one that's running stuff anyway. We just need a figurehead. I would prefer for people to be honest, but they'll never do that.
Yeah. And but honestly, also, Dr. Thunder, and what I'm about to say is a trivial point that need not be said. The reason they won't do that is because that doesn't work. You can't really tell people the truth. You just
no, of course not.
Lose their mind.
Right. No.
So now it's interesting, right? You can't find a better person. People say the same thing about Trump, right? Like, why can't the Republicans find a quote unquote better person? And as LER has already alluded to, he said it's not a great era for hip hop. Maybe it's not the great era for anything right now. It doesn't seem to be the era of any greats politically or otherwise.
Old head.
So LAR, I know you're deeply embroiled in a debate with Slick Rick about his Slick Rick in the chat about his name and musical epochs through the generations. But let's try to do some prediction here, right? What do you think is going to happen? So him and him, no audience, and you have the CNN people. Maybe they're a little kind of biased, maybe, right? You could say towards one direction or the other. Now, what do you think Trump's gonna do? How do you think it's gonna go? Where's Trump? And how's Biden gonna be able to do it? Go ahead and let's have some predictions starting with LAR and then Kaizo and then Dr. Thunder.
I think it's a lose-lose, man. I think it's like it's two old guys that are gonna argue about petty stuff because neither one of them are gonna take on the issues in America. They're not gonna take. You think either one of these fools gonna take on what's going on with the economy? No, they're gonna die before they do that. So at the end of the day, you're just gonna have two guys arguing about, well, the people don't like you, and then Joe Biden gonna say something crazy, or he gonna fall asleep like people think, and you're just gonna have another, pardon the term, another shit show. This is just okay. If anybody who remembers cartoons, for me, this is Ren and Stimpy debating. That's all this is. Beavis and Butthead debating. It's just which one do you like more? People have said for years the presidential campaign is basically a popularity contest. You got one immensely popular candidate who's stupid and one immensely unpopular candidate who's stupid. So it really doesn't matter. Everybody going, Trump's my guy. No matter what listen. If Trump was Kanye West right now, he would win. You understand what I'm saying? Trump is just a white version of Kanye. That's it. So it doesn't matter at this point. Trump doesn't have to win to win.
Damn. So
That's
it's
the
like
issue.
inevitable, decisive. Damn, scorched earth.
I mean,
Okay.
like, okay, historically speaking, presidents don't do good when the economy is tanking.
Yep.
So that's a problem right there for Biden. He ain't gonna do nothing to fix that. Historically speaking, people, I want somebody who's gonna be different from the other person. Well, we know they two different people, you know. So and you got a society that lives in delusion. You got a bunch of people thinking that it's gonna get better if this next person comes. That's what you got to fight. The momentum of, well, if we get this person out and get this person in, it's gonna get better. It's not gonna get better either way. Personally, and I'm gonna just say this: I think Kennedy the best candidate out of all these fools, but people don't like Kennedy because they think he sound like he got a voice box. So to me, Trump would have to do something like get caught beating up a girl in a hotel lobby on camera before the debate to lose the election.
Yeah, like
I just don't, that's what I'm saying.
yeah. It's got to be video of it, and it's got to be real bad too. It's got to be a real bad look, like Donald. No, Sharkeisha, she wasn't ready.
Oh goodness.
But Kaizo, right? So Trump is the white version of Kanye West. You heard that first. They both call themselves geniuses, after all, right? And what do you think is going to happen here? What do you think the genius Trump is going to do with Biden? How's Biden going to react? Give us a imaginary play-by-play of how you think the debate will go and who's going to come out ahead.
Yeah, I obviously think Donald Trump's gonna come ahead, right? I believe in the superior real Dwight man, right? Again, I'm not really joking here. Trump has a certain following, right? From okay, let me give it context, right? At least 10% of Black Americans are foreigners, right? Okay, Nigerians, Kenyans, Ghanaians. Most of these are gonna vote for Trump because they believe in the same principles. So I do think that Trump, if he plays his cards right, he's gonna win this. However, we don't know if the winning is gonna be constitutional because of all the cheating allegations from multiple sides. I think that's the only issue I have, sort of unclaimed truth dynamics, right?
Okay.
So are you
So
saying Trump is going to call you a tether like Tariq Nasheed? Is that what you're saying?
No, wait, hang on, right? You are right, right? But there isn't, low, right? Now, Tariq Nasheed is a scammer. We've proven it, right? Us Pan Africans and all that kind of stuff, right? He's just trying to get money, right? But I do say that Trump is at least talking about the things that matter to African immigrants, which is economic empowerment. Even Black Americans should be focused on that. Although I do think Black
yeah,
Americans.
African is going to be more attracted to the strong man, generally speaking, that kind of thing. Right? It's just,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
kind of what they're used to anyway. They like that shit.
yeah. So I do think that Black Americans need to get to that same page. Otherwise, we're going to be out here sort of fighting in a redundant sort of system when we're not fully cooperating.
Very, very heartfelt sentiments there from Kaizo. Deep, you can see his deep Pan Africanism in there. Now, Dr. Thunder, what are your thoughts here? You've been alluding to it. You've been hitting, you've been with the sharp elbows over there with the Biden direction. But how do you think this is going to play out? You think that Trump has an Achilles heel here? Do you think Biden can pull a trick, or you think Trump could perhaps step on his own dick? Anyways, go ahead.
Um, Yeah, again, let me reassert that I don't want either one of these bombs. But if you look at the 4 years that Trump was in, and you compare the metrics related to the black community, unemployment, you look at earning power, you look at, there's a short list. If you're honest, then you'll say, and we can disaggregate the numbers, and you can make the argument that there were other factors that were present, and it's not exactly apples and orange. I'm sorry, it's not exactly apples and apples. I'm inclined to listen to you. That's fine. But if we're honest, we were doing better under Trump than we did under Biden. Okay, so going with that, if that is actually true, that may be the worst. That may be the better outcome for the black community, as it were, is for Trump to get in. Now, like I said, I don't like either one of these guys. I think the reason why Trump really can't do anything that would make him look any worse, there's two reasons. One reason is because Biden has been so terrible. And because of a lot of the things that traditionally minded black folks, even those that lean left and would traditionally be Democrats, they have seen certain things that probably will be issues for them as far as their morals, their values, their good, church going folk, and they've seen some things that perhaps give them some pause with certain aspects of that sort of progressive ideology, the progressive agenda. Okay, so I think that's so Biden has been very bad. And many of the promises that Biden has made have been, he's just totally turned the opposite direction, and none of that stuff really happened. Okay. The second reason is because I think a lot of black people identify with Trump in they're trying to come after him. They're trying to do all this stuff. And it's obvious that many of the things that they're coming after him are petty. I'm not saying that there's no substance to it. I'm not saying that there's no substance to anything that he's ever been indicted for or that people have said. I frankly think that he's kind of a disgusting human being. I wouldn't want him around my kid. However, if he's president, he's not going to be around my kid. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That ain't the job, to be around my kid. The job is to be a dirty bastard to our enemies. And, so I think a lot of black folks feel like I can identify with the state coming after me, with society coming after me, and I can identify with trivial garbage stuff that they'd ignore about everybody else, but somehow randomly I get to be the person that they throw that stuff at every freaking time. I think a lot of brothers can a lot of black people can identify with that. And that's not the same as saying that we believe that Trump understands the black experience, because of course he does not. He does not. But in that small way, understanding, what it's like to be persecuted for no other reason, really, than he's saying things, in many cases, inartfully, in X, Y, and Z, that are not the kind of things that the sort of left-leaning folks, progressive folks, and these sort of more entrenched political types don't want him saying that stuff. So I get that. And me, myself, and by the way, I got tenure in 2010. I was hired in 2004, assistant professor on a tenured track. I got tenure in 2010, where I was promoted to associate professor with tenure. May 16th, which was just 3 days ago, I was promoted to full professor. And let me tell you, and I did a stream detailing a lot of the foolishness that went down, because I dare to express opinions that I have publicly, albeit not even on campus, albeit having nothing to do with my teaching or anything that I have to do, that I do on campus, but that people would actually try to infringe on my freedom of speech as a way to try to torpedo my case. There's snakes in the grass all over the place. So I can say that I personally identify with people trumping stuff up, making stuff up, and trying to throw everything at you at an attempt to derail your efforts. So I think that those are the two reasons why I think Trump is going to win. I like I said, I think he's a dirty bastard, but like I said, he's not going to be around my family. Be a dirty bastard over there fighting our enemies. There you go.
And there you go indeed. So we're going to start rounding out to the last subject. You see what OpenAI did in the past couple of days, Dr. Thunder, was they upgraded GPT-4 to GPT4o, O meaning Omni. And this basically means that it's going to be able to take both text, voice, images, and video, right? Taking all this information, interact with them seamlessly. It can have a camera looking at your face, all these other kinds of things, and the interaction and the usability has kind of gone up exponentially, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of like one side of things. But generally speaking, there is the question of how much traction this stuff has been getting, right? And we know that we haven't crossed that threshold yet where it's going to AI, that is, or at least large language models. The large language model aspect of AI is going to merge with enterprises and be able to kind of make them super efficient and kind of have access to all their documents and be able to summarize and collate and say all kinds of things and blah, blah, blah. If you're a real kind of futurist and you think of AGI even, then you could just say, hey, AGI, go figure out how to make money. Figure out to create this particular product online, market it, and make money, right? Why do you need a person for that when you have this agent that can spawn all kinds of other agents to make it happen? But let's talk about the traction so far. LAR, you messing around with any of the GPT products? Are you using even, let's say, the Meta AI that they've kind of thrown into Instagram, and it's probably on Facebook or something like that, or any other kinds of things like that? If you seen any improvements in your ability to search data, collate data, kind of grab information and process information as a result of these new tools out there, LAR?
All I'm using that stuff for is to make images. I have a theory, and like I heard somebody say, I think it was SWP. He was like, this is going to help people out because it's going to help people present themselves better by using Chat GPT. Online resumes, such and such. If you write out stuff, you use Chat GPT. I'm of the thought process. No, because when we got smartphones, we got dumber. Now we got Chat GPT. People gonna get exceedingly dumber, increasingly dumber, because now we're dealing with a society who doesn't know information and who Google stuff, and at the same time doesn't pay attention to what they Googled. Go ahead, look it up on Google. Okay, it says you didn't even read the whole thing right. So now you're going to have Chat GPT having conversations for you, and your dumb behind can't even, you don't match the intelligence when somebody meets you in person.
It's going to be AI versus AI. So Dr. Thunder pulls out his phone, LAR pulls out their phone, and their GPTs argue with each other.
But just because the GPT argues with each other, that doesn't mean the person reading on the other end knows anything. Mm-hmm. Let me just let me have the computer tell me what they're saying. There's a certain amount of how can I say? There's a certain amount of ingenuity, creativity, just your neurons firing faster when you're actually going to do the work yourself. We're entering an era where people I saw somebody recently say something like, it was Jaguar Wright. She was like, you know why the parents were mad during the COVID era? Because their kids was at home, because they had to do their homework with them and they was too stupid to do it too. So they wanted them to go back to school. So we don't want to say it, but I'll say it, that we got stupid parents with stupid kids using the internet. So how is society going to get any better?
Teach these kids math these days? I haven't had to deal with it too much, but I've seen some kind of new math things that I would be, and I'm an engineer, I would be like pissed too. I'd be like, take your ass back to school. I'm trying to do
it. You people think about this. People are going to use Chat GPT, and they still can't write their signature like an adult in person. Does anybody see a problem with that? Sign this. You sound like a fifth grader at 35, but Chat GPT is going to help you in life. I don't think so. We got a bunch of do-it-yourself videos out in society. Do people still do it themselves? No. I'm done.
All right. What uses Chat GPT if you can't read? Might be the title of this article. LER, you struck. But guys, what are your thoughts on this? Again, with these particular large language models and how they are being adapted from your perspective and in your life, your use, and you may elaborate beyond that. Guys, are you there, or did you have to?
Yeah,
no, you don't have water. Okay, go ahead.
From my perspective, this is the future, right? ChatGPT and other large language models are the future because they are also the present, right? So let me give more delineation there. If you want to if you look at the greatest discoveries in the sciences recently, Google is one of the benefactors, right? Google's models have been utilized for studying folding and unfolding of proteins. Now, this is relevant because...
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you if you know this particular technical aspect of it, because I know the AlphaFold and stuff, right? Which is also about machine learning. But those are not large language models, are they? Or just some of the different kind of vector math going on in there?
Well, it's both, right? Because you need to have a large enough language models so that you can have, let's say, okay, good question, right? So if you look at the what is studying, like alpha, for example, right, is studying the folding and unfolding of proteins. What you need to do here is understand the rules of folding and unfolding of proteins, but also be able to compute large models whereby you can kind of articulate, several multi-million differential sort of equations, right? You have to be able to go there and make millions, if not millions, of different codes that code for different types of folding under different kind of conditions, be it temperature, pressure, any kind of condition that you state. So I do believe, right, that this is going to create a huge sort of boom, especially in the biological sciences, because protein is everything, right? You're only alive because your proteins fold and unfold in a certain way, right, under a certain temperature, under certain conditions, be it alkali or acidic. It doesn't really matter. So this is the future, and I think Google was smart on actually creating the best algorithms for doing this. Actually, I was working on some of these sort of computational physics and chemistry models, and I think this is the future. Right, you don't have to waste your time thinking through things. You can just compute different things. The scientist goes and does experiments, and these analyze it.
Yeah. Proteins are very important. Proteins, the way I like to kind of describe it, are the skeletal structure of the microstructure, like the skeletal structure of the cells, right? What we were talking about folding, for example, because they're actually structural. In other words, think of it as like little Legos. That's what the proteins are. So generally speaking, as a biological being, you have carbohydrates, fats, nucleic acids, and proteins. The nucleic acids, that the DNA information stuff. Carbohydrates and fats, we kind of generally know what those are. Well, proteins are the things that actually make the stuff, make this particular structure, make that other structure, make this thing bend this way, make these muscle fibers that way. That's what the proteins are, and they're very important for doing all kinds of biological stuff. Dr. Thunder, what are your thoughts on the implementation so far in your life of these large language models? Will you look at this Omni version, for example, that supposedly deals with images and video and such better? And there is a video. I think I linked it in this email where they just released this stuff a few days ago, and they kind of had a video kind of laying it all out there. Anyways, Dr. Thunder, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I use Chat GPT fairly regularly. I like to use it to rephrase text. I'll write a paragraph or something, or two paragraphs, and then I'll copy and paste, and then I'll ask it to rephrase. Because often it can simplify something that you're trying to say, or make it clearer, better constructed, whatever you want to say. And that's actually not only a way to improve your own writing, but it's also a way to teach yourself how to write more concisely. So that's a way that I've used it. And as far as like using it to create images and stuff, I've not done that very much. But I know that a bunch of folks are doing that for like thumbnails and things. And you can even feed it images that you've created in the past, like thumbnails that you've done in the past, and then you can give it some suggestions. Say, okay, I want something that kind of looks like this, but here's the things that are different. Spell it out in text, and it can actually create thumbnails that would look similar to the style of your thumbnail.
I got a question for you, Doctor.
Go ahead.
What percentage of the students are using Chat GPT to do their work?
A lot of them. I'm sure a lot are using it. And I remember early on, when the topic was trending, I saw all of these meetings and discussions, discussion groups around campus amongst faculty members and staff, because they wanted to know, like, okay, what are we getting ourselves into? What is this? How are we going to be able to tell if students are using this or not? X, Y, and Z. And the answer to that question is you can't tell. I mean, you could make a guess, but there's not going to be a way for you to verify, right? So for instance, say you have a student that is terrible at writing, right? And they're just not good. But all of a sudden, they just get their syntax, they're using their prepositions correctly, they're using transitional phrases, the topics seem to match more and it's more cohesive. Sure, they could have gotten better at their writing. Somebody else could be coaching them. They could be getting tutored, or they could be taking the writing that they usually do and putting it into one of these machines, and it could be kicking stuff out that is phrased better. Honestly, I don't necessarily have an issue with that, because the student is acknowledging that there's an issue with their writing. What I have an issue with is the fact that you can tell this, write me a 500-word article using citations with APT formatting, on whatever the topic that you want, and it'll kick something out. And the thing is that it's not plagiarizing. See, you can't even say the student is plagiarizing. They're not plagiarizing. It's
so ultimately, there's just I would say there's a high possibility that, let's just say from now on, you're going to have a bunch of students in the highest level of education that probably didn't study. They just chat GPT'd it out. And then they're going to enter the workforce.
So this is where I think, because I'm always on the side of technology. I like that there is technologies that automate aspects of what it is that we do and are more efficient at it, because then what that does is it gives you more bandwidth to focus on the stuff that only you can do. So I think what has to happen is academia has to say, okay, we've got a bunch of things that are sort of automated. Now we need to shift to working on these sort of really fine points that only the student is able to generate. And then obviously we have to devise certain mechanisms to be able to evaluate if the student is actually absorbing the information, or if they're just like you said, chat GPT in it. I mean, one thing that you can do is you can say, okay, we're going back to blue books. And I don't know if people know what a blue book is. That is when the teacher has a big stack of these blue covered things, and it just has notebook paper inside. And give up your phone, give up your computer. We're in here, we're writing. Right? And so you can return to that. That can be an aspect of your educational thing. But I don't necessarily think trying to eliminate people from using the technology is the way to go. I just think that academia has to get it. They have to figure it out, how to make the changes so that the students can still actually be getting something out of it.
Yeah, and Dr. Thunder and LAR, sorry to interrupt here.
No.
And Dr. Thunder, this kind of dovetails with one of the things that you talk about all the time with regards to academia versus industry, right? So the way it comes in is because, okay, you're saying LAR is bringing in a situation whereby people are just chat GPT. But if indeed in the real world, quote unquote real world, or in the enterprises that these people are going to go work in, it's all AI and chat GPT, or it's increasingly becoming that anyways, then academia needs to then change to see, well, what are the particular kinds of skills that they would need to excel in a world that is dominated by AI? as opposed to whatever. It's very rough kind of sketch, whatever kind of. Yeah. But anyways, LER, go ahead.
When I was years ago, my son would play video games, and he would play like basketball or football, and he'd tell me, like, yeah, I know how to play. And I was like, what do you mean? I know exactly what to do when I'm out there actually on the field of the court. Like, okay, what you been playing? Yeah. And then he got on the court and he sucked. I was like, I thought you were playing. He's like, yeah, I was playing it on a video game. This is what you got to do, right? And this is what I'm thinking about with society. You're going to have a bunch of people who, because they chat GPT, when they get actual around people, they'll be terrible. You're going to have A students who, look, don't commit a crime in the next 10 years because your lawyer been chat GPT in his whole, you're going to jail.
Well, no, but hold up. He can just, no, but he's in court. He still has his computer, so he can still chat GPT. And
against the defense
the mic is open. Well, check it out. Check it out. The mic is open on his computer. It's transcribing in real time what the other attorney's saying. And then he says he can hit the chat GPT button, and GPT says the perfect response. Okay, this is when I say.
And then the judge records it. And anyways, go ahead.
Right. You do you know it or do you Google know it? Do you know it or do you Google know it? Now, this has been an issue for quite a while, actually. Once the internet became a thing, and autocorrect and all of that kind of stuff, Microsoft Word fixing your grammar, fixing your spelling, once that became a thing, now what society is supposed to do is they're supposed to move on to the next thing. We have that handled. We have that situated. Now we can focus more on these other issues. That's what's supposed to happen. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of faith in humanity. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to admit that publicly, but I don't have a lot of faith in humanity. So I think some people will do it. Some people will say, okay, I got this worked out. I'm going to use this to free up more time for me to do stuff that is loftier and more important for humanity and for the sake of my family, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be able to make more money. I'm going to be able to X, Y, and Z like this. But most folks, unfortunately, you're going to have a lot more people going to college, wasting their parents' money, playing video games all day, don't even go to class, chat GPT, getting high, and chat GPT-ing themselves through their education. Dare I say some GPT valedictorians may be in maybe close by.
When I was in high school, I got into it with one of my friends, right? And we were in class, and he was cheating, and right. he was writing everything down. I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, I'm getting all this right. I said, "But you stupid though. Why would you try to get 100 out of the blue on something that we know you stupid at? Why don't you get a couple wrong? Make yourself look like you trying to get better. Don't just go from a 65 to 100 in a week and we know you've been stupid your whole life." This is what's going to happen to our society.
Yeah.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another installment. And we talked about a number of topics today, beginning with BBL Drizzy, right? And into the debates, the presidential debates, and now talking about AI, large language models specifically, and how it can, affect and make everybody dumber.
Let's get the real thing here. Okay, all right. We
just for pettiness sake. You see how AI can make better music than this generation of rappers?
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Here, wait a minute. I'm gonna play here. One second. I've got one more. I've got one more here that is. This is also. Let's see here. Wait a minute. No, I think they put it in my general. Somebody sent me this. Oh snap. Let's see here. They sent me this. Okay, maybe it's here. Is that it? No. That's the thing you sent. That's about somebody's fake eyelashes. No, that ain't it. Here we go. Is that it? No, that ain't it. Dab nabbit. Oh no, here it is. I found it. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So this is AI generated. No, it's not. This is wrong. I'm sorry. That's the wrong joint. Man. Keep talking, man. I gotta find this thing. Keep talking. Go.
Let ChatGPT.
But anyways, go ahead, LR, if you had something to say.
I was saying let ChatGPT find it.
Oh right.
Yeah,
right.
there you go. Let ChatGPT organize your files and all that stuff. Yeah, but I was in the middle of kind of giving a summary here of what we talked about. There was the kind of economic aspect of the beefing, which is kind of implied, right? You know, people like tension, they like drama, they'll go watch it on a screen. If they can have it in real life with people that are doing other forms of entertainment, great. We looked at the particular history of this type of thing, this type of beefing and dissing in hip hop coming out from New York and whatnot. And then we talked about the particular characters, Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick Lamar in this case. And I think we had a pretty decent and fruitful conversation that kind of encompassed many, many aspects, including Dr. Thunder's points about the art music versus the quote unquote commercial music, and how it's never just the case that you just stick to depending on your level of analysis and what you're judging, right? Don't make the mistake of comparing apples with oranges. For example, if you're just saying, hey, pop music is not as good as this other one, it's not as authentic. It's like, well, that's an apple, this is an orange, right? And the pop stuff is not easy to produce and whatnot, right? But did you find it, Dr. Thunder? Is that it?
Yes, I did. I did find it. This is called Ellie Regio. You came. Well, maybe I shouldn't play this, but this is, but it's dated as 1972. It's dated as 1972.
You said you were a nice guy, all proper and polite, but then you made your move on me in the middle of the night. You caught me by surprise with your sudden advance. Okay,
that's all I can play of that. But you see the stylistically, right? It's from that time period, and then there's this right here. Here we go.
You know, sometimes a bitch just needs to take a ride to a place where a bitch are really let loose. You dig? Let it all hang out, if you catch my drift. Me and my ladies, we're looking for the brothers that can show us a good time. Is that you? I'm out of town thugging with my rhymes, my coochie pink and my booty hole.
Okay. So I can't play any more of that either. Sorry. Very sorry. but
You
I
know what? I
can't play
gotta
any
check
more of
that
that
out.
either.
That sounds like a better version of that song.
Yeah,
it's
but see,
mimicking. Yeah.
but check it out. You can't see the date in the thing, but this says the Red Sisters, 2 Ds, the Red Sisters, Pound Town, 1972.
Mhm.
Okay, so again, the time period, the music from that time period, I mean, it matches, right? Even the aesthetic in things. But they've. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
what they're going to be able to do is they're going to be able to take anything that they want to reconstruct, any sort of bogus narrative for, and just create whatever documentation with the and now this says that this was published 1 month ago. Okay, but you know that they would be able to monkey with that stuff too. If you're talking about stuff done at the state level.
Yes, that is a big deal, especially when it comes to, I mean, everybody, I'm sure people have heard of this one before now, where, if you're printing, if you're publishing things, okay, we
Yeah.
know how immediately the definition of recession was changed to match the narrative in Wikipedia. So, if you're publishing books and such, at some point, if it's outside the Overton window, your books would just be edited. And who knows, 2 generations from now, who knows if the Red Sisters actually existed? Who knows if that, that was the original song or not when your grandchild is, out
Exactly.
there looking for music to listen to. And one may say, yeah, well, it wouldn't even really matter. But let's get some closing thoughts.
And it kind of looks like,
Kaizo,
it's funny because it kind of looks like Destiny's Child. Here. Let's put this. I mean, it's obviously some sort of AI generated things, but right, kind of looks like a little bit in the face. Kind of looks like Beyonce, right? And you have the two more chocolate sisters, right? I'm just look, man.
Man, your kid's gonna be able to download the personality and have a robot shipped, new robot wife every weekend.
Oh,
jam
goodness
70s
gracious.
classic.
That's terrible.
It's gonna be all.
It's going to be all jacked up.
Oh, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's get some closing thoughts with Kaizo, LAR, and then you can take us out, Dr. Thunder. Kaizo, you still there? Let's have your closing thoughts, sir. I guess you're not a superstar. Well, LAR, go ahead.
So, is anybody gonna say that I'm gonna go backwards? Chat GPT is gonna be on X videos and it's gonna be a problem for for young ladies in societies. There's gonna be some guys on their phone in class just lotioned up. The
Squishy.
as far as the president is concerned, well, just admit at the end of the day that America is a soap opera, and this is just an episode in it. If every 4 years you're gonna get something stupid. As far as the Kendrick and Drake beef, I said it in the chat and I say it again. First and foremost, Chris Brown had the most disrespectful diss out of all the rappers. That should let you know where rap is right now. Okay? And
wait a minute, was it Chris Brown? Was that when he was talking about something swallowed?
When he was talking to Quavo.
No,
No, swallow.
No, that's a different reference. So sorry about that.
So all I'm gonna say is, at the end of the day, folks, I'm gonna start Chat GPT in my hate so you fools can understand it. Because this is the nation that we've got into now. Y'all don't want to admit this, But we've gotten so lazy that we'll rather push a button than put in some work. So we're gonna have Chat GPT sex bots, Chat GPT microwaves. Y'all want to be in Star Trek and have the thing make the food for you? That's fine. That's fine. We're gonna have Chat GPT battles and beefs. Cool. You ain't gonna have nothing real but your palm and some Chat GPT lotion at the end of the day. So welcome to America.
Welcome to America. All right, and it seems like another one is going down the hatch.
Is Kaizo you there?
I referenced him. He did not.
Oh, Kaizo is sleeping. Something. I don't know. Maybe
Dusting it up.
Yeah, he's with his Chat GPT girlfriend or something. I don't know what he's doing. Anyhow, yeah, you know, this is a good, these topics, we covered 3 different topics that are not really related but do have some relationship to each other. Because when you talk about Chat GPT, which is going to become more of a regular thing, just for everything, for the arts, as in our first topic, for that the Chat GPT is being used to write these speeches, these presidential speeches, politicians at least to be tweaking it. We see that Chat GPT is, like I said before, it was like a big issue and there was a lot of concern by academics, and then it seems like that concern just went away and they just basically just accepted that, look, there's no way that we're going to be able to police this, so why be concerned about it? Just basically act like it doesn't exist and just continue doing what you're doing. Now, I think that's a mistake. What I would like to see is a lot more sort of rewriting of curriculum to focus on higher level stuff. Well, since y'all ain't got to spend that much time working on this writing part, check it out. We can spend more time working on this other part. Perhaps a return to focusing on critical reasoning, deductive logic and things like that. More time spent doing that, which will at least help students to be able to learn how to categorize their thoughts. You can teach. You can't make people creative, but you can tell them how to think. You can show them how to think, how to be organized in their thinking, which maybe that could be something that's spend more time on that. As far as BBL Drizzy and the beef economy, I liked Tariq's article, and you may disagree with who it is that he used and who he suggested were the biggest beefs or any of that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But I tended to agree, other than him dubbing it Victor, I tend to agree with his assessment. And one thing that we didn't really talk about as much as I thought we might have is just how this sort of beef economy, how that just seems to be, part and parcel also of even the manosphere and the red pill and the black pill and all the different, the real pill, shout out to Black Ram, all with all of the different sort of versions of things and people sort of carving out different spaces for themselves, and a lot of the beefs and squabbles and everything else. And some people saying that they're just not going to beef, folks like Kevin Samuels, who refused to beef. And then you've got the SBE folks, and you've got the SBE cult, as it's been called. Shout out to Ty City in Ramil. And it's interesting. Do the beefs actually produce revenue? Does it actually cause people to spend more on super chats or spend more on, cash apps or watch more hours of content? And if it does, then how come it is that more people are not beefing? Why why don't we have more beef? So that's a kind of an interesting, maybe an interesting place to stop today. But thanks for being here. We will see you next time. Actually, next week I'm not available, so we'll probably skip that week, but then we'll be back the week after that. And Ike, I don't know if you're available to do a Wednesday night this week.
Yeah, I think we can do it.
All right, that sounds good. So we'll be back to do a Getting Ish Done with Ike and Dr. Thunder. Make sure you go over to Kaizo's channel and LAR's channel. Join whatever the promotions they have. Make sure you participate. Great content over there. A lot of dusty Africans on Kaizo's channel. So if you're into kicking dust on Africans, then that's a good place to do it. and LAR, of course, been here longer than the rest of us, and it's got a lot of great content over there. So make sure you support a brother. Go over to Ike's channel. A lot of great content over there too. And you've got some sort of like this woman over there that's been doing these sort of kind of African news kind of thing.
Yeah, Trending Global, and I have a couple of ladies, both Kenyan, that just kind of report on information that might not be otherwise covered vastly. Yes, that's kind of going down, so you can check those out.
Yeah, check those out for sure. And of course, and check Getting Ish Done with Ike and Dr. Thunder. It's all kind of episodes and everything. So
with all this bills going on, I'm surprised someone hasn't brought up the suppository, like the black suppository, right? Maybe I don't need. Anyway, a suppository is a pill that goes up your butt,
right?
So, red pill, black pill, blue pill. Maybe we need. Anyways, I'll shut up.
Nah, we don't need that pill. I don't need that. Anyhow. So that's gonna be our time for today. Come back tomorrow morning for an episode of Rolling Thunder, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, with an open panel on Fridays. So, and that's our time. See you later. Peace.